Let's put it this way. I personally helped Arthur to join in and truly start his remarkable musical journey, so to speak.
Who am I? Where am I going? Where do I see myself in 15 or 20 years? And what am I bringing into this world? Who is this music being played for? And what kind of place is this where drugs are used and huge amounts of alcohol are consumed? Well, what kind of energies are these? Demonic? Demonic.
Were there specific moments in your life when you also tried some other substances in addition to alcohol? If that was indeed the case, what exactly was that experience like for you?
I thought that I started to feel the music better, that I began to understand this world better. But no, as I said, the Almighty sends you people. If you want to become better, He sends you people, situations, and you see that you are wrong. Then if you decide to become better, you just go ahead and change.
Yes.
That's all.
All right. Tell me, what truly supported you during the most incredibly difficult moments, and how did you navigate through those challenging times?
The Almighty. Prayers. Well, I truly hope I'll meet Him again very much.
I just have a few questions for you, if you don't mind.
You will definitely get through everything. Just take care of yourself and trust in the Lord. That's all I would say.
Today's guest is not just an artist and creative soul. She's a story of transformation. Deenara went from nightlife and chaos to inner peace, discipline, and deepness. Through grief and loss, she stayed true to herself. This episode is about falling, rising, and becoming your most honest self. Then you gain, then you live, here and now.
Deenara, hi.
Hi.
How are you feeling today?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Just a little bit, of course. I feel a slight weakness, but overall I'm fine. I'm on the mend.
I'm sure with your strong character, you'll need just a few moments to recover.
Today,
Let's talk about how you feel, your journey, and what changes are happening in your life right now. There are quite a lot of them. You're entering a completely new stage of your life. And before, as I understand it, you had a certain level, there was comfort, and you had a sense of what to expect from tomorrow. But we all found ourselves in a new reality when the war in Ukraine began, and we all started to run, to relocate, and to think about how to rebuild our lives from scratch. You recently moved to London, and for you, a completely new chapter is just beginning. And just recently, I also realized that when we have a certain level of comfort, we tend to lean a bit toward stagnation, when everything is just so. But when changes happen in our lives, we take on these challenges, we embrace these trials, and they allow us to achieve even more, to discover ourselves further and to become better. And I feel like you are now in that most exciting period, when your game is starting anew. It's interesting, it's vibrant. Tell us, what stage are you experiencing right now, and what is happening in your life overall?
well, first of all, I wanted to thank you so much for inviting me. And what you have started doing is truly, truly important. At this very moment in time, it is incredibly and profoundly interesting. And thanks to the truly captivating stories that people generously share here with you, I genuinely think this amazing and intricate art form, martial arts, specifically like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ, I chose it precisely and deliberately because it inherently requires you to deeply think and critically analyze.
On that note, could you please tell us, you recently, as I know, went and did Vipassana for the 5th time. What differences did you experience between your first and your 5th time doing it?
It's almost impossible to explain in words.
So what
is it really about? You have to go to Pada, you have to go to London. Let me start with the city. Vipassana for me, and this is my personal opinion, for all of humanity today, it is a salvation. It is a way to remain human. How do you fall in love with London every day?
You went through a profoundly challenging time in your life when someone you love so deeply, someone who truly meant so incredibly much to you, suddenly and unexpectedly passed away. How did you cope with all of that, and how did you manage to get through it?
In general, with this country as a whole, the entire meaning of my life was invested in this man. Honestly, I never even dreamed of living here. When you build your sense of purpose in this way and invest all the meaning of your life in a man, you risk losing your own life. And I adore it. Everyone sympathizes with me. They don't understand how I can be on stage. I took his photograph and put it in my pocket. He loved what I do. He always supported me in all of this. He was actively involved in everything. He traveled with me all over Ukraine, everywhere. He accompanied me on my tours. Hang in there and everything will be all right. I took his photograph with me to my first performance after he passed away. And a candle. I lit the candle in my room, asked him for forgiveness and said, "You love what I do. So today I will perform all your favorite pieces."
Oh God, Deenara, that's truly inspiring. Powerful. I
had to do what I was meant to do. I really had to show a lot of courage.
Are you talking about for what purpose? Why? Did you want this, or I must
keep living? I had to move forward to understand why I was moving forward. Dudar. People heard me. It is an incredible gift when you reach the point where you sincerely ask yourself a question. What is the meaning of my life?
I don't know. It's so interesting. You mentioned London, and I suddenly had a flashback. Do you remember we were sitting together in a cozy cafe, just leisurely drinking some tea and having a pleasant conversation? At that moment,
the beginning when you arrived? Yes.
We talked about everything. I remember you said back then, "Wow, I just feel like I want to have my own reasons, my own explanations for why I should be in London. I want to come, but I'm so scared." And I told you at Deenara, "Go for it. London is waiting for you. Everything will be great. Lots of friends." Wait.
That was when I was visiting.
Yes, you came to visit and we were still there.
That was when I came to visit Mariana. That's it, I remember now. And now I'm having such a flashback. Yes, I was walking through the metro, that's right. I remember now. I thought it was after I had already moved when you and I
passed that on to them. And I remember, Deenara, move, everything will work out. You have amazing friends and you have the drive to try. If anything happens, you can always come back. Go ahead, give it a try. And later, when we talked, that's what you would say. I
think that was also a seed you planted, which has now borne its own kind of fruit. Imniob.
This.
Thank you, my dear, thank you. In general, you helped me in principle in many ways, for which I am very grateful to you.
There was a fragrant smell. I truly believe that people in our world should help each other. Because there are too many wars in our world, destruction, people killing people, people taking revenge on each other. It's unclear why or for what purpose. Still, I believe that we should create, we should support, because it seems to me that this world is moving a bit in the wrong direction. And in fact, that's why I'm creating this project, to show people that everyone has their own path, everyone has a soul. This path is unique and it's not always easy, but if you have purpose, if you have the desire to create something good, something conscious, then it will, so to speak, help others as well.
Absolutely. I fully support you. I believe that in such challenging times, in order for us to survive, and truly if we want to be whole, the only way forward, the place to start, is to unite.
Yes.
With support and of course by coming together. Otherwise, we won't survive. They'll simply break us one by one.
All right. Deenara, let's talk a little about your past. You are an outstanding choreographer. You were the show director at one of the best clubs in Ukraine.
Show director.
Show director? Art.
The art director was Artur Artpad.
Ah, well, show director. But before...
There were other art directors before Artur.
Yes.
Yes, that's sweet. Sorry. Well, still...
Listen, being a show director at CHI is truly an outstanding level. You are also a music producer, you create your own tracks. I know how hard that is. It's very hard. Yes, you are a very creative person and you are a strong individual. You are part of the nightlife world, show business and a very fast-paced rhythm, and...
I'm still going.
And you keep going, yes, but it's more about those moments that happened before, you know? What was it like? What were you like? And what was happening back then?
Oh, in general, my professional journey actually began with my specialty as a highly skilled show ballet director, a role I truly enjoyed.
Along with
the condition that I would be dancing. It all started in 2012 when I began working with the Konstantinovsky brothers.
At
this point, they are my very close friends. I believe that we met in past lives. They are my karmic soulmates in some way, because they have done so much for me. They have helped me a great deal and continue to support and assist me. Today, they have wonderful families, children, wives. I adore all of them. These people somehow managed to. In fact, I have observed over all these 10 years that I worked with them, actually even more, I think. I watched how skillfully they select people. And as history would have it, they chose me as well, both as the leader of the show ballet and on the condition that I would also dance. I didn't want to dance because at that time I had already danced a lot before I started working with them. It was, of course, a very interesting journey. It was 2012 during Decadence when they managed 3 floors in Arena City. There was Berghaus, Martini Terrace, and the 4th or 3rd floor, I can't remember exactly, Decadence House Club. And later, we also built the Bacardi Terrace. Everything was set up and fine-tuned by the team. We significantly changed the entire format. At first, it was purely commercial. Then we gradually switched to a more refined deep house style, progressively moving even closer to a distinctive tech house style. And we meticulously created a truly fascinating and compelling story that unfolded beautifully.
everyone knew Decadence, everyone knew whose it was. I didn't experience Decadence myself, but I did experience whose it was.
I worked as a dancer on the banner at the very first Decadence.
That's incredible.
Yes, I was 17 years old, completely inexperienced, had just arrived in Kyiv, and I simply needed to make a living. I dreamed about that club. Everyone was talking about it, and I would just come and beg them to at least let me audition, to at least try a couple of times as a substitute. Well,
you could say my dream came true. I just kept at them.
I bombarded them with messages, even found them on Odnoklasniki, constantly asking, please hire me. I'm begging you, at least let me dance as a substitute. Then we changed the format. I introduced the guys to Arthur, Artbet, and we used to go out with the guys to listen to music because we were planning to change the format at Mantra, at Borobro, if you remember, at Scale.
And
then we meticulously tried out several different art directors, but unfortunately, they simply couldn't adequately handle their responsibilities. So consequently, we ultimately decided to completely change the format. And with great anticipation, invited Arthur to join us at Decadence. So with that in mind...
Basically, did you actually poach Arthur away from Arbet then?
I didn't hire him, I invited him acquainted.
Invited him to get acquainted? Got it. Well, let's put it this way. I helped Arthur join and start his musical journey, so to speak, and really achieve things. Yeah, you didn't...
Remember? His fee was $300 to perform at Bacardi Terrace.
That was at the time, yes. Back in those days? Oh my.
I was such a big shot. I was earning $500 as a salary back then. Can you imagine that? At that
time, guys,
the dollar was 8 back then. You know what that means?
Impressive.
That's huge.
Impressive. Tell us about the time when you were already at Chai. I think that's when I first saw you. I was studying in the Netherlands and I rarely came to Ukraine. I remember I was about 20 years old, so it must have been 2019 or 2018. And I think that's when I came to Chi on Arbat and I saw you because you were playing, I think, in front of the guys.
I was opening again, right.
Yeah, I thought, wow, what a talented girl, how charismatic she is and how cool she plays. That's why I remember that time. Everyone sees the music, the fame, the lights, but not what really happens behind the scenes with artists, the things that no one ever talks about or even wants to talk about. You know all this inside out, if you're on the inside and you know it at a high professional level.
Well, yes, I hosted artists, set up the equipment, handled all the administrative matters, and observed how everything was managed and executed. I have experience, as they say, experience is something you never lose. Yes, experience is something you never lose. Behind the scenes in order to, look, it all depends on what you focus on. If we talk about what happens behind the scenes from the inside, at which stage are we talking about? If it's the beginning, then behind the scenes, for example, one of the unpleasant things I can recall and share is that sometimes you simply might not get paid.
Has that happened?
That has happened to me many times.
So some point they
would give me minimal part of the advance payment,
and
then they just wouldn't pay, wouldn't finish paying. We'll send it to you tomorrow. And that was it.
These are our Ukrainian people, right?
Our Ukrainian guys. Yes, it happened with people from abroad as well.
When
I was working without a manager.
When
I was working on my own.
All right, so at the early stages you weren't getting paid.
At
what later stages, what was happening?
Well, the fact that it's hard and you don't sleep at night, that's the most difficult part, I think. And in other words, a person becomes completely unbalanced on all levels. You lose your sense of balance. And of course, even in that state, it is absolutely essential that you need to maintain proper, clear, and effective communication with people, you know, those around you.
Yes.
That is communication with art directors, promoters, club owners, or those who invited you. And at the same time, you need to keep your energy high on stage, feel the crowd, know exactly when to play what, when to let them relax, and when to energize them. You need to have patience there, to endure, because there can be delays and flight cancellations, for example. Or the hotel might not meet your rider requirements. The hospitality rider might not match the technical specifications. For example, in my technical rider, it always states that I must have speakers and monitors.
I come to the sound check.
And it seems like the speakers are there. They work great. But when I come at night, those speakers just don't work anymore. Well, in my opinion, this is
negligent management.
No, or maybe they're just low quality. They simply break down after a while or just stop working properly. You can't even hear what you're playing for the people. You don't feel it. And as a result, there's a disconnect. You don't feel the crowd. And honestly, there are hundreds of moments like this. It's very difficult. DJing is extremely, extremely challenging, but the most fundamental challenge is the kind of energy you work in.
What kind?
It's a low, dark, and truly demonic energy, a palpable force.
Why? Can you elaborate a bit more? Because it's...
Of course I can. Well, for example, at the age of 30 or 31, when I met my teacher, who is also my psychoanalyst, I naturally started to ask myself questions. Who am I? Where am I going? Where do I see myself in 15 or 20 years? And what am I bringing into this world? What will remain after I'm gone, and so on? This is actually a very important question. And I believe it's worth asking ourselves these kinds of questions. Of course, it all starts when a person is ready. But if parents introduce these questions to their children earlier, so that kids would start asking themselves these things, I think there would be much less room for conflict and strife in this world. Let me return to the topic of demonic and dark energies. For example, when I go on stage, I compose electronic music. I truly love creating music. I love being on stage. This is all like a cafe for me. I love this process. I absolutely love expressing myself and connecting with people. All of this is just fantastic. But if you stop to think, what kind of energies are these? Who is this music being played for? In what kind of place is this happening? Where drugs are being used? Where huge amounts of alcohol are consumed? Some kind of energies, demonic, truly demonic. Dark, very dark. Debauchery takes place. For what purpose do people often come to clubs? You know it yourself.
To listen to music?
To listen to music, yes, but also for other reasons.
And just to unwind.
To sell drugs, to use drugs, to drink alcohol, to meet someone, to, do certain things. And so on and so forth. So what does it turn out to be? I am supporting this.
And do you truly think that you directly and significantly influence?
I am actively participating in this.
Well, yes, I understand what you mean. And
at certain levels, you can really, truly feel the impact of it. You come home after a performance.
Yes.
Home. And you feel like there's a certain layer on you. You seem clean, right? You even get out of the shower. You've washed yourself. But you still feel this weight, this heaviness, this energy. that you simply need to have practices, you need to cleanse yourself, you need to bring yourself back into balance afterwards. Otherwise,
Well, you see, it's great that you've come to this realization. And I also have some questions I want to ask, and I definitely want to return to them so we can discuss this fully. I still want to understand, you told everyone about this, what happens on the backstage, what kind of people come to the performance? How was it for you? Because you are an artist, you are a DJ. Have you ever had moments when you tried any substances other than alcohol? If so, how was it? And why, for what reason? And how did you perhaps give it up if you had that experience?
of course I did. Of course I did, because I work in nightlife. And I started getting involved in nightlife when I was 17. I came from the small town of Krasiliv in the Khmelnytsky region. That's right, I came from there.
That's great, listen.
And she really got into the party scene. You know what a party is, right? And I was just... Were you ever at Sexton or Forsage?
Yes, oh, well.
I went to those clubs every day. I'm not even joking, literally.
Did you enjoy it?
I liked all of it.
I
Liked all of it because I'm from a small town and there was nothing even close to that there.
I see you wanted something bigger, you wanted a celebration.
Yeah, you know, somehow there's always something that drives me to discover, to learn, to try, to develop, to study. And so something was pulling me there. I was going there without really understanding why, but I knew I needed to.
All right, when was the moment when you first tried substances? It's actually important to discuss this because many people try or use them and honestly, it's very embarrassing.
To talk about it.
Well, if you want, we can talk about it. Of course, I think maybe this could help someone.
I tried substances as soon as I arrived in Kyiv.
What did you feel? Was there a moment when you already started to... Look, what
Was taking.
What were you taking? Share with us. It was synthetics.
Yes, it was indeed all kinds of various drugs, yes. I tried a great many different things, but fortunately I successfully avoided all those painful needles and the really heavy, debilitating states. So I genuinely think there's absolutely no point in meticulously listing each and every one of them. Yes, indeed.
I agree.
There's no point in listing them. I definitely want to say it brings no benefit at all. I used to think, oh, I started to feel music better, I started to understand this world better, but that's not true. Even if it's just a little, like some of my acquaintances say, I'm not high, I just did one line of cocaine, I'm not high. No, you are high. You did a whole line of cocaine. That's it. You've just plunged yourself into that filth. And even on a subtle level, if you use drugs, entities attach themselves to you. You can even develop the ability to see these entities, as my teachers say.
Seriously?
I've never had anything like that. I'm still green, and I'm still a long way from that.
Have you ever felt addicted to it? Because if...
Take it straight and broadly, in general, personally, depending on what meaning is put into the dependence. Everyone interprets this word differently for themselves. Personally, for me, addiction is when, even if you try it once or do it once every 2 weeks, once a month, but if it becomes a regular thing, that's it. That's addiction. Yes, I did have an addiction.
How did you overcome it? So for me...
It was just the way things were. Because when you work in such places, and that's not an excuse, for me, it's shame and disgrace. This is something that should absolutely never be done. It's a very difficult state to be in. You will have to cleanse yourself afterwards. It has a very negative effect on you and your entire lineage. We bear responsibility for our whole family line
in this
incarnation. We didn't come here to indulge ourselves like animals. When you use drugs, you equate yourself with an animal. You descend into degradation, do you understand? And we came to this earth not to simply seek pleasure, to consume, to take, to chase thrills, and that's it. We come here to honor our lineage, to grow, to discover ourselves, and to leave something good behind, to pass on our knowledge to our children, and to honor our family line. We should know this from the moment we are born.
This is very interesting. Let's touch on this topic now. When did you start getting interested in this more spiritual subject? And perhaps let's discuss how you overcame your dependency.
What?
Methods. What helped you? Maybe someone is watching us right now who...
Maybe just perhaps...
Something like that. But I
will start by saying that, first and foremost, a person must have a strong spirit. And of course, a strong and profound sense of purpose, which provides direction and meaning in life, is truly essential. After my latest and greatest crisis, I began searching for meaning, because I had completely lost my sense of purpose. In fact, I had lost the meaning of life itself. And now, whatever I take on, I have developed the habit of finding meaning in absolutely everything, even in the smallest everyday things. I ask myself a question. Why are you doing this? What is it for?
What is it for? Yes.
So what is your guiding light then? What are you guided by? Where are you going? Why are you creating all this around you? For what purpose? In other words, it's quite simple. It seems simple, well, it's
challenging times.
I simply can't do it differently anymore.
I can't.
I simply can't do it any other way. Otherwise, I understand where that path leads.
Strength of spirit, that was the key. So did you just tell yourself one day, Deenara, that's it, stop from this moment on?
No. Everything just seemed to come together for me in a powerful way. I felt it, I understood it, because everything around me seemed to fall into place. At some point I started to wake up, and one person came up to me and shared a story from their own life. And suddenly I realized, my God, I'm in the same place. I don't want that. I want things to be different. Or for example, of course, I was also fortunate to have my psychoanalyst, my teacher. Every day, without fail, I thank God, all the gods, absolutely everyone, all the forces of light, for sending this person into my life. And that's how it was. I just happened to find her by chance, met her through her husband. It all happened in such unexpected ways. And of course, she was indeed the very first one to truly help me.
I understand.
At first, of course, it was the psychoanalyst. Then came the profound spirit, the insightful psychoanalyst, and the deeper meaning. And naturally, such significant growth and development.
Exactly.
There's no other way. Then somehow, God opens up new paths for you. When you are open, when your heart is open, the right people are sent your way, those who will guide you forward.
All right. And what about the so-called star disease? There are many artists, many talented people who, when they become popular, perform a lot, are recognized by many, and reach their peak, they develop this star disease. Have you ever experienced star disease yourself? Because you are outstanding at what you do. You perform in many places, and a lot of people know you. Have you ever felt this in yourself?
Sometimes those moments come to mind. Of course, I had those little fits, and I apologize for using such a literary word.
How did you overcome that, right?
At that time, I was in a relationship with an amazing person. His name is Lesha Andreevsky. We are still close friends now. We spent 5.5 years together. He was the best partner I have ever had in my life. Someone who loved me, cherished me, and accepted me just as I am. It was an incredible gift to have such a relationship. Well, we couldn't stay together. Moving on. He was a truly great mirror for me, a profound and insightful reflection of myself.
What do you mean?
He would tell me about it, very gently.
About the fact that he loved me? Yes.
Yes, Deenara, you can't do that. You can't behave like that.
How did you behave?
Inappropriately.
What do you mean inappropriately? I
behaved inappropriately. I was arrogant because I didn't know what I was doing. In a word, I was foolish, but there weren't really any truly significant actions or any real crisis moments, so to speak. Did I suffer from a star complex? No. That would be that there were certainly times when I inadvertently set my personal goals far too high and, as a result, might have spoken to someone with an undeniable sense of arrogance. But I would later come to fully realize this. And of course, My supportive bosses also consistently help to keep me firmly grounded.
And
My friends at work, well, as I said, the Almighty sends people your way. If you want to become better, He sends you people and situations. You see where you are wrong, and if you decide to improve, you take action and change.
yes.
That's all.
All right, let's truly imagine that right now, sitting directly in front of you, perhaps even looking up at you with a hopeful gaze, is your younger self, a version of you who is incredibly talented, possessing a truly passionate heart, and eyes that are undeniably bright with potential, yet feeling a little bit lost and uncertain about the path ahead. Considering all of this, what profound and meaningful advice would you genuinely want to impart to her at this very moment, right now?
Younger self. How much younger?
Let's say around 17, perhaps 16 years of age, when you first came to the vibrant city of Kyiv to truly conquer it.
Oh my God. When I vividly remember it, I came here with my dear mother to officially apply to the university.
I
got really scared of the escalator and then started to cry. It just happened, it just did. You see, I can clearly picture it right now in my mind.
just you.
We were riding the escalator, you know? Oh, it was definitely funny. So what exactly would I say to her, to my younger self? I would definitely tell my younger self, specifically my 16 or 17-year-old self, that you will absolutely and unequivocally handle everything that comes your way, without a doubt. It is incredibly important to always take excellent care of yourself and to place your complete and unwavering trust in the Lord always. That's all I would say.
Was there ever a moment in your life when you felt, I don't want to live like this anymore? For example, related to your music career or the industry that existed in Kyiv at that time. We're not talking about how I feel now.
Back then, I didn't feel that way.
And now?
Now, yes.
All right, if that's how you feel now.
Now, it happens quite often. I'll tell you even more. I honestly don't want to do this anymore.
What do you want to do instead? What happened? What was the turning point?
Well, at the beginning of our interview, I mentioned the kind of energy I work in. I want to become a mother. I'm in my 35th year. I want to build a family. Who needs a mother who performs for addicts? God forgive me. And for alcoholics? No, there are also wonderful people there. Kind, interesting, and talented people also come to these parties. Well, with the fees I'm getting now in London, it's a really quite painful topic at the present moment in time, unfortunately.
I completely understand you. I'm also partially involved in this industry. And, you know, there was a moment in my life when I could have gone into this full-time and developed it further. But then I sat down and had a very honest, rather tough conversation with myself. And I realized, okay, Regan, you'll work another 5 years in this industry. But what then? I also want to be happy in the future, to be a wife, a mother, to have a family, and so on. And you and I both know what goes on behind the scenes. It's truly sleepless nights. It's
very hard.
It's very hard. People only see the picture on the surface. You earn
pennies, spend a lot of money on travel, and then even more to get yourself presentable for the road, and in the end, you barely make anything. Yes, that's exactly how it is.
All right. What would you like to do, for example, if right now, yes, not music, not what you're doing now? I remember you once told me about yoga, but maybe you have some other ideas. I'm just genuinely curious.
You know, I just don't want to voice it right now because I'm still on my journey.
Yes, I understand.
On the path to truly creating
my own
intention, I have already clearly and definitely decided that I choose the path of light. I've already chosen it, and I've already set foot on it. That's for sure. This is my rock-solid, irreversible decision.
All right. Tell me, what supported you during the most difficult moments?
The Almighty. Prayers.
It's truly and profoundly interesting to hear and understand how you meticulously made this remarkable journey from a state of utter chaos and disarray to one of profound discipline and deep, meaningful self-reflection. Could you elaborate on how you precisely came to achieve this significant transformation? How did you get started? And what was the real turning point on this journey?
The turning point. If I understand the question correctly, you mean when? What happened that made me decide to turn to self-reflection? Perhaps suffering is a gift from the universe, a gift from the Almighty. It was this suffering that pushed me towards self-reflection. Self-reflection, what do you... Again, let's return to the meaning. What meaning do you put into the word self-reflection? Profound.
When you ask yourself a lot of questions, what is all this for? Why are you doing this? Yes, it's self-analysis, self-reflection. You grow from certain perspectives. Another question is, why do it? For what purpose? Why? In other words, you work through everything yourself.
Suffering.
What kind?
Suffering related to profound depression. I've personally experienced different kinds of significant depression. These include long-lasting ones. For instance, I've had periods of depression that lasted for as long as half a year, which was quite challenging.
And?
I've had some very difficult, challenging, and truly crisis-ridden periods in my life.
Was it because of substances? No.
I stopped using substances a long time ago. It's all about the bigger picture. It's about not knowing, not understanding myself, not being able to solve normal adult issues. All right, shifting responsibility onto other people. So a lot of different things happened in my life. And these struggles, when I was going through those crisis periods, self-reflection helped me understand myself. Self-reflection is about gaining knowledge. But when, during this self-reflection, there is a person of high qualification, with vast experience and a loving, bright heart, who observes all of this and understands what is happening to you and at what stage of transformation you are, then, of course, you are on the right path.
Are you talking now about your psych, about your...
Teachers?
Yes, about the teacher. How many years have you been working with her correctly? But she is a girl, a woman.
5 years? I'm working hard.
Are you working?
Yes. The work comes from the word slave. I don't like this word.
By the way, very good. Here we work.
London. In London, we work because we need to earn money. But with the teacher, I labor because to labor is for myself.
That's very subtle, Deenara. You are indeed a very deep and thoughtful person, and we will definitely need to talk about the significant fact that you actively practice boxing, you also engage in Jiu-Jitsu, and you have quite recently returned from a Vipassana meditation retreat. This is truly a unique combination, friends. What does each of these practices give you?
I actually have many other practices as well.
Tell us about them. Share more. I am a very
well-rounded person, honestly. I never cease to amaze myself. I entertain myself however I can. In fact, I only have enough time for all these activities. Of course, I allocate a certain amount of time for work, but I do it quickly and effortlessly because I've been doing this for over 10 years. I need some Latin techno house, please. I sit down, find it. I format the playlist, then I go and perform. All of this is done very quickly. I also teach DJing. Before our meeting today, I had a 1.5-hour lesson with a girl. The lesson turned out to be very interesting.
Was it her first lesson?
Yes, it was her first. She picks things up very quickly. She's going to be an amazing DJ in the future. I'm confident, I truly believe in her. She's such a smart girl. And then there's boxing. Actually, I first got acquainted with the sport of Aliyah boxing in the year 2015, if I recall correctly. It wasn't exactly boxing, it was Muay Thai. That's Thai boxing, where you use your elbows and knees.
High
kicks and all that. What
happened then? Back then?
In 2015, I was firmly on the exciting path of becoming a professional DJ, pursuing my passion. I was already performing. And I met my wonderful boyfriend, whom I soon started living with. In general, I am a very passionate and enthusiastic woman, deeply committed to my interests and relationships. That's why, just like any woman, I accumulate emotions. Some people have more suffering and sadness, others have more aggression and anger. It's different for everyone.
So, am I right in understanding that for you, it was a way to release your emotions? Yes, in 2015? All right, and what about now? You're still continuing, right? Not now.
I'm not doing boxing anymore.
Not boxing. Boxing?
By the way, I actually did boxing. It was my salvation. Once again, the Almighty sent me an amazing teacher.
Salvation from what exactly?
Salvation I was going through a very serious crisis, the greatest loss. It was in 2023, at the end of September. And I was already doing boxing, but boxing really saved me because I went regularly and trained. And thanks to having such an excellent coach, I developed a deep connection with him. He was going through his own very important stages on a psychological level. I think it was also on a deeper, more subtle level. Again, I feel like he is my karmic person. And he helped me get through it because he showed me boxing from a completely different perspective. He revealed to me the deep philosophy behind this discipline. That is, the philosophy of this martial art.
What philosophy, if you don't mind sharing? For example,
that strength isn't about hitting as hard as possible, but about lightness, rhythm, and flexibility. It's about being able to sense your opponent. And there are many such insights. He has, in general, a very imaginative and interesting way of thinking. His name is Yuri, and right now he is defending our country. I worry about him a lot. I actually went through a period of depression. I was really worried about him. Now he has overcome it, and he's showing everyone there what real boxing is all about. He is a truly wonderful person. He plays chess and is incredibly skilled at it. He even started teaching me how to play chess. He is very deep and interesting, and he reads serious literature. He reads unique and rare books. This is a person who has been teaching boxing for about 15 years.
they say a talented person is talented in everything. From your stories, it's clear that he is exactly that kind of person. But I also want to add that people like this are naturally drawn to each other, especially at stages when we have already become conscious adults. At least now in my life, I can see the kind of people I attract. And compared to when I was younger, it's a completely different level of awareness among people. I realize that I too change significantly every year, not even every 5, 6, or 10 years. So this is your mirror, your Yuri. Now, regarding Vipassana and Jiu-Jitsu, I'm just really interested in this. I see how much you enjoy it. Is this a hobby for you, or do you actually want to participate in competitions? What does it give you? No.
That's absolutely not the intended direction. No, that's not it at all. I specifically chose this truly amazing martial art, BJJ, precisely because it inherently requires you to constantly think. You really, truly have to fully engage your mind, to meticulously reason and thoughtfully consider every single aspect there.
It's a very subtle art, isn't it? Yes.
It's like alchemy. It's like alchemy, where you create a new version of yourself through your body. There is a certain development happening, and it's fascinating. This is all thanks to the art of martial arts. That's it. Also, it works through the body, and since I'm a very tactile person, it resonates with me. So in order to develop more effectively, I think I need to get to know myself better, to really understand who I am. For example, some people, when they need to pass an exam, it's enough for them to sit for 2 hours, reflect, think deeply, read, and rewrite their notes. The main thing is that there's something red lying nearby. Some people have this particular trait. I have a trait that is expressed through the body.
That is?
Through touch, through certain physical exercises. By the way, I owe this to my parents. They developed this in me from early childhood.
With the help of what? With the help of dance?
I worked very diligently and with great effort as a young child, performing a significant amount of demanding physical labor and strenuous work.
For example?
Right from early childhood, my parents literally made me work in the garden, hoeing, planting potatoes. Yes, it was very hard. My lymph nodes in these areas would even swell up.
Wow.
Release the tension. Yes, I worked very, very hard.
Well, at that moment, you probably were...
Very little. It was when I was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. All those years, yes, I worked hard in the gardens. We actually had 2 rather large gardens. The factories would give out these plots, 300 or 400 square meters each.
So I take it your love for sports started with the seeds? Endurance? Yes.
That's thanks to my parents, who taught me the value of hard work. That if you want a beautiful dance, if you want to have something, it's all expensive. To have an expensive dress, well, forgive me, in the 90s that was very costly. Paying every month for these dance classes, buying custom-made leather shoes, dresses, all of that cost money. And we didn't exactly live in luxury. My family was actually quite modest. We didn't earn much. There was little money in our family. So these are the qualities my parents helped me develop. As a result, I'm a cardio person. I don't like strength,
The type of
activities. I love running a lot, jumping a lot, and thinking at the same time. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu truly inspired me. I observed and interacted with people who had been in it for a long time, at least 2 years, for example. The way they masterfully control themselves, how they possess self-mastery is impressive. That's something I still lack in many areas today.
Although, it would seem, you are also a choreographer and that I know what you're talking about, great, but this is more the work of the subtle plane and the body. And the work of the body is not always connected with the work of the brain. And it's cool, actually. Never tried it, but maybe, welcome.
I'll go with you if you want. It's really interesting, honestly.
Please tell us more about your Vipassana experience. That's something absolutely different. This is truly and very much about the very essence of the soul, right?
It's my new family. Yes, I've already attended 5 Vipassanas. 3 of those Vipassanas were 7 days long and 2 were 10 days.
Well, that's a very powerful experience.
Yes. Vipassana is one of the most ancient practices. It's an ascetic practice, a form of asceticism in the broadest sense of the word, which was created by Buddha more than 3,000 years ago. It's meant for a person's realization,
For
self-discovery, for connecting with yourself, with your origin, and for self-actualization.
what exactly happens during these practices, actually?
If I'm not mistaken, if I'm not confusing Vipassana with the practice of prostration. Oh no, the practice of prostration is more than 3,000 years old. That's okay. So Vipassana, again, for me, gut feeling, that's what led me. And again, I was going through a very critical period in my life. And once again, I was searching for some tools to help me find balance, support myself, and understand myself. I thought, okay, I need some kind of women's retreat. I started searching. Then I thought, no, I remember hearing a long time ago about Vipassana, where everyone remains silent. So I went online. I started searching. I came across Yana, who is now my teacher from the Vipassana community. And that's how it all started. I went for it. And I joined this practice. Pure coincidence. Well, actually, there are no coincidences. As Carl Gustav Jung once said.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I joined this practice. And when you find yourself in such a place, engaged in such a deep and profound practice, you truly understand that you have earned it. It is such a gift to have the opportunity to be in a place like this, to pray, to purify yourself, and to get to know your true, authentic self through this practice. For this, I am deeply grateful. Apparently, my ancestors made this possible. It is thanks to my ancestors, thanks to my lineage. It is because of them. And I have this opportunity. I am deeply grateful to all of them. Of course, everyone came out.
Please tell us, I know you recently went and did Vipassana for the 5th time. What differences did you notice in yourself between your first and your 5th time going through this experience?
It's truly impossible to put into words.
You have to
go there and experience it for yourself. I can share my stories. I know my stories touched you. When we talked, it meant a lot to me. It's really something special. That's when I realized that I didn't live that day in vain, because I was able to help you to touch an important part of your soul. And to be honest with you, I compare myself to the Deenara I was before Vipassana.
Yes.
But it's a completely different person.
In what way? Let's just explain for people who have never heard of it, don't know anything, but are thinking, okay, maybe I want to try. So what are perhaps the main differences? Are they in character, in behavior, in thinking? I'm not sure. What is it?
Vipassana, for me, I think this is my subjective opinion. For all of humanity today, it is salvation. It is salvation in order to remain human. And of course, it is a profoundly powerful and deeply transformative practice that genuinely helps you to thoroughly cleanse, truly purify, ultimately find a harmonious balance, effectively stabilize your inner self, and most importantly, truly listen to your innermost being and deepest wisdom.
to understand
yourself.
Did you hear that from yourself?
There, you can also gain, of course, a subtle experience. This happens very often.
A subtle experience, what is that?
A subtle experience is something that happens on a spiritual level. For example, a subtle experience at the last Vipassana, when a girl came out and we were all released, allowed to speak again, because there you keep a vow, not just a word, but you keep the vow of mauna. The vow of mauna means you are not allowed to speak, but that's actually the easiest part of everything that happens at Vipassana.
How long are you not allowed to speak? Is it the whole time, all 10 days?
In addition to not being allowed to speak, you are not allowed to look anyone in the eyes. You can't gesture in any way or offer help. If someone drops something, if someone falls or breaks a leg, under no circumstances are you allowed to help. A person goes through his own experience. It is forbidden. You are disturbing Mona's lunch. Mona's lunch is something you can't communicate with at any level. What to say, to look at, on all levels of feelings.
To be truly and completely filled with energy inside yourself, right? At the very least.
To unite, to connect with oneself. But this is the simplest thing.
Live
without a phone, which will lock you in.
And
remain silent and not talk to anyone. But, excuse me, she is with at least 30 people. At least.
And are you an extrovert too? I'm an extrovert as well.
Actually, I joke that what I love most about Vipassana is this moment when we are enchanted, just blatantly ignoring everyone and not greeting anyone in the morning. That's a joke. But in reality, it's a real pleasure. It's a pleasure when you immerse yourself and slow down. I managed to slow down only on my 5th time. All 4 Vipassanas before that, I thought I was slowing down. No.
What does it mean to slow down? To slow down.
To truly slow down means, oh my, how do I even adequately explain this profound concept? For example, we expend a tremendous amount of our precious energy on sudden, unexpected movements, on making swift, often difficult decisions, on engaging in deep, complex thinking, on participating in lengthy, involved conversations, on the simple act of getting up, on getting intensely scared that you're significantly late for something important, and then frantically rushing off in a hurried manner. A huge amount of energy is lost that way. So, during the practice of Vipassana meditation, it is highly recommended to consciously slow down your pace in order to effectively develop the crucial skill of deeply focusing your undivided attention. Focusing attention, concentration of attention. And when you truly slow down, where your focused attention genuinely goes, your vital energy inevitably follows. So you deliberately slow down. Just like ancient monks often give their dedicated students these profound exercises, where they meticulously take a full half an hour to make a single deliberate step.
In reality, this is incredibly difficult. Once, my teacher Regina Yurievna gave us such assignments. We were training ballroom dance, where technique is also extremely important.
It's
very difficult. And when we were kids, holding your arm in one position for an hour and a half or taking just one step in 15 minutes. So does that mean she already knew something back then?
Yes, that means she was in the know. Or her teachers were in the know.
Yes.
Exactly. That's why Vipassana teachers always recommend slowing down.
Guys.
For example, mindful eating. Very often these days, by the way, people use the word mindful without really knowing or understanding its true meaning. For example, they recommend our dear students. Our first meditation is over, our Hatha Yoga session is done. Now it's time for mindful eating. Please go downstairs, for example, breakfast is ready. And here is a recommendation. So when you begin to eat, at the very least, sit down and chant the Om mantra. This is the most fundamental, the most powerful of all mantras that exist in this world. It is the first sound, the divine sound. This is the Om mantra. And it also needs to be performed correctly. It is recommended to chant the Om mantra 3 times before eating. Take a moment to notice the aroma, to sense what kind of food this is. Take a slow spoonful, feel the weight of the spoon, consider what metal it might be made of. Look carefully at the porridge, notice the herbs in it, and imagine how they grew under the sun. At Vipassana retreats, of course, I want to emphasize that only wholesome, purely vegan and truly sattvic food is served. This sattvic food, in this specific context, profoundly means that it is meticulously prepared by a dedicated cook who also diligently practices Vipassana meditation, ensuring a harmonious and mindful experience for all participants. And as for rituals, in general, a ritual is a profound awakening, a conscious transition. When I personally wake up, I immediately say a heartfelt prayer, then I carefully warm up some water for myself, sometimes enriching it with essential vitamins or a refreshing squeeze of lemon, or I simply drink plain warm water. Following this, I diligently perform prostrations, a deeply grounding and spiritual practice. If you do prostrations in gratitude and recite prayers for your family line, it is best to do this in the morning. If you simply do prostrations, want to express gratitude, or set an intention, you can do it in the evening as well, but it is generally not recommended to practice in the evening. What practice comes next? I sit in meditation for at least an hour. And Anapanasati is concentration on the breath, the point under the nose.
Do you do this every day, morning and evening, or when?
Does it work out?
Okay, an hour.
At least an hour.
But
2 is better, because when you sit in meditation for 2 hours, completely different processes are activated in your mind.
do you typically find these meditations somewhere, or do you perform them in complete silence? Yeah.
I put sharpeners on my ears.
Sharpening ears.
I'm doing Arma. Kapalabhati, 108 breath retentions, that's 3 rounds. And then I sit down for meditation, focusing on the breath, complete relaxation, and begin to concentrate.
That's great.
Yes. And of course, another practice is Om. When I really feel completely exhausted and have lost my balance, or if my health is a bit shaken, like today, for example, I sit down and for at least 15 to 30 minutes I chant the Om mantra. And it's even better if I do it along with a recording with Vipassana.
It amplifies the effect.
I enter the quantum field and I connect with myself as I was in the recording and with the energetic field that was cultivated there. And with all those wonderful people with whom I shared this experience. And the effect is so much greater.
Powerful.
So without this, I kind of see life, but if I were to stop doing it completely...
You feel the difference.
I
have the same thing. I have my own rituals. Yes, sports, workouts, and also meditations.
But
I don't do as much or for as long. For me, it's about 20 minutes at most.
At least something.
Well, yes, I really do feel the difference too. When I do it and when I don't, my vibrational state is completely different. I'd like to touch on a rather personal topic, if you don't mind. I know that you went through a profoundly difficult and challenging time in your life, a period when someone you deeply loved and cherished, someone who was truly and unequivocally dear to your heart, unexpectedly and suddenly passed away from this world, leaving an immense void. How did you cope with all of that, and how did you manage to get through it?
Well, this topic is actually completely normal to talk about. Maybe it still hurts a little, but death is a part of our lives. We will all die, and we will all inevitably face this. I just didn't expect that I would have to face it like this. So suddenly, so unexpectedly, because no one is ever truly prepared for death. I wasn't ready to lose him. I really loved him very much. And it was an enormous shock in my life. Honestly, I still don't know to this day. I can only guess. I tried to put it into words for myself, and it seems like I'm able to. But I still don't fully understand how I managed to get out of that state, because it was extremely difficult. Let me explain why it was so hard. Perhaps some women or girls are listening to me, and I would like to share my experience with them. Maybe some of them have gone through something similar, so that they don't do what I did. Because then this experience would have been less painful, for example. If I hadn't made a man the entire meaning of my life, in other words, all the meaning of my life was invested in this man.
You lost yourself, right?
What's the word? Completely lost myself. Of course, I lost myself. I made him...
The meaning of your life for 50 years? Well, the meaning...
of life. How can you build the meaning of your life on shifting sands? How can you rely on that as the meaning of your life? Furthermore, if one day, just with the snap of a finger, that person is suddenly gone, that's it. You lose your sense of purpose in life. If it weren't for the Almighty, and if it weren't for my psychologist, who didn't take a single penny from me for 10 sessions, she was pulling me out. I don't know. Maybe she was struggling herself, but she is a true master. This is her calling. She really pulled me out, and I was pulling myself out together with her. To be honest, when he died suddenly, I kept working. Even on the 6th day after his death, I still wasn't fully aware of it. For the first month, I kind of understood with my mind what had happened, that he was gone. But I didn't feel it in my heart. In other words, I didn't truly understand it. There just wasn't that clear sense of understanding. And it's like that for everyone. Everyone goes through the stages of grief.
Yes.
I don't know exactly how many stages there are, but there are certain stages that I personally experienced. But when you build your sense of meaning in this way and invest your entire life's purpose in a man, you risk losing your own life. Because I had suicidal thoughts. I couldn't understand the meaning of my own existence. I didn't understand why I even existed at all. Well, yes, okay, I go to work. I do my job well. Okay, I remember on the 6th day after his death, I went to Odessa to play music. I'm playing, and Shura Olenek, my friend, says, "I feel for you." My God, the two of us there. Everyone sympathizes with me. They don't understand how I can be on stage. I took his photo and put it in my pocket. He adored what I do. He always supported me in all of this. He was actively involved in everything. He traveled with me all over Ukraine, everywhere. He accompanied me on my tours. He was a unique, amazing guy. And I carefully took his cherished photo with me to my very first significant performance after he sadly passed away, which was a truly emotional moment, and a candle. I lit a candle in my room and asked him for forgiveness. And I said, "You love what I do. Then today I will play all your favorite pieces."
My God, Dina, that's truly admirable. Honestly, I truly cannot even begin to imagine going through such profound grief and then having to face the public eye, performing, acting, and consistently bringing forth joy and positive energy to everyone. I just can't imagine it.
Well, it's not exactly about giving.
Guitar.
Yes, everything is fine. Why? It's a cleansing. Yes.
It's catharsis. Yes.
Catharsis. Yes, it's liberation. I truly had to do what I was always meant to do. I absolutely had to show courage.
What? Why? Did you want this, or I don't know?
I have to keep living. I had to keep going to understand why I was moving forward.
And
why am I going? Where am I going? And then I reached the point where I had lost it. This is a great gift. People heard me. It is an incredible gift when you reach the moment where you sincerely ask yourself a question. What is the meaning of my life? That is, I lost it. I didn't understand why I was living. Well, why? It doesn't exist. My entire life was built around his life. He was quite a complex figure. And he had his own specific, complicated schedule. And all my life, all my free time, my busy leisure time, I really loved to grow and to work hard. I adjusted, built, and structured everything completely around him. And then, in a single moment, everything fell apart. The meaning of my life was lost. The entire structure was lost. That is, I had to create everything from scratch, to completely recreate myself, to create values, to create meaning, to search for meaning. There was absolutely no meaning. I had lost it. Completely, totally. But thanks to the Almighty, thanks to my spirit, thanks to my teacher, I made it through. And of course, thanks to my family and friends. I have 3 friends who were in touch with me around the clock, and who even in that state made me come to them, and watched over me no matter what color I was, green, grayish burgundy, or any other. They made me go for walks, eat, and live, and to live.
You know, it truly sounds as if you have experienced such an incredibly powerful and profound love that you were the Lord indeed.
First and foremost, the love of the Lord. And of course, love for a beloved one, for a man. I am grateful to him for everything. Absolutely everything. And today, as of now, I recently asked myself a question. What if he hadn't died?
Yes, what kind of person would I be? How would you have developed yourself? What kind of person would you be? What
would I be like right now, at this very moment?
do you have an idea of what you would be like?
Yes.
Would you share?
Different.
Well, that's clear. Great answer. Different how, Dina?
Well, at the very least, I would have certainly considered the possibility of there would be less meaning. Very important, fundamental, true meaning. Because all the meaning was in him.
What truly changed deep within your soul after this significant person departed from your life?
In my soul. Sweetheart, well, everything changed. Everything changed, I told you. Everything started over from absolute zero. I was like a newborn. It was like a complete rebirth. I was like a newborn. I kept going to Vipassana retreats. I spent all the Vipassanas in meditation. All the prostrations, everything was dedicated to him. I asked the Lord God to forgive him all his sins, everyone's sins, and that he would raise him as high as possible.
Have you let go now?
Of course, I truly and sincerely hope that he is doing exceptionally well, wherever he may be at this very moment.
If you could articulate something truly profound now, as a final heartfelt word from a person, what exactly would that significant message be?
That I love him very much.
To this day. You know, I believe that people and souls remain in our lives as long as we remember them, as long as we love them. And no matter how much time, many long years, or even several decades have passed by.
I think so, yes. But I hope I will meet him again. I have a few questions.
Which really should be discussed, yes.
Yes.
I sincerely hope that this particular event will happen in a very, very distant future indeed.
Well, yes. I think so, yes.
I realize that you have experienced true love, but I am curious to hear. Already?
It's not scary to die anymore. Now it's okay to die.
No, come on. Young and beautiful. I want to ask you about the gun.
These days, when you move to Ukraine and when there's an air raid alert, do you think, well, maybe this time I'll get hit by a Shahed drone, right?
Yes.
Well, I think to myself, well, by the way, after my loss, my attitude toward death has changed.
And how did it start with?
Death. There was an enormous fear of death. Now, I approach this situation calmly and with a clear mind. This is because we are simply, I believe it's just a shell, just an avatar that goes through life, developing new qualities, the necessary qualities, and learning lessons. Then we leave and we reincarnate. I'm absolutely certain of this now. I become firmly convinced of it. If before I had questions, and my mind works in such a way that if there is no evidence, no facts, right? For me. Yes, it's the same for me. If there is no faith, right? And you accordingly faith. I won't, that is to say, I will certainly have doubts. But when I truly connected with various insightful teachers, when I profoundly experienced certain subtle states and went through truly profound periods during my Vipassana meditation practice, and even today, as I diligently listen to and carefully read the fascinating and illuminating literature written by the esteemed teachers of my own revered teachers, I am more than absolutely certain that the concept of reincarnation truly exists and is a fundamental truth.
I will be in the next life. Yes, I will be in the next life.
We honor our lineage. And it is essential for us to honor our lineage and express gratitude. And to discover and understand as quickly as possible why we have come here, what our lineage desires, for what purpose, and what we are meant to accomplish here. Why have we come here? But certainly not to use illicit drugs, to excessively indulge in delicious food, to engage in fleeting intimacy, or to pursue all sorts of debauchery and simply to seek fleeting pleasure. We are truly here to create, to honor, to diligently seek knowledge, and to generously give.
It's all about balance.
Yes, it's about balance.
That way to you?
There is no balance. It doesn't seem to be entirely about balance, because today, in this particular modern era, it's undeniably a deeply consumerist world, a global society driven by consumption.
Yes.
Everyone wants to take more and more, to grab as much as possible, more for me, me, me. But no one thinks, what can you give? What can you offer? I'm talking about myself right now. I used to be the same way. I wanted to take as much as possible. I was always running somewhere, rushing, saving up that money. And so what? Well, I mean...
We're all in the game.
Yes, yes. And at different stages. We need to wake up. We need to awaken. We need to grow, to discover ourselves, and to understand that, well, where are we, who are we, and why are we here?
Yes. Tell me, what place does music hold in your life? And what does music mean to you? How do you see it? How do you feel it? How would you describe it? Let's put it this way.
Well, for me, music is truly God himself. It is indeed God, the very essence of existence, a divine and profound presence. Music is a language of its own.
Absolutely.
It is a separate world. It is something inexplicable. Everything is there. There is love, there is God, there is everything. As Einstein once said, if I had not been a physicist, I would have been a musician. He played the violin terribly. I have heard, listened to, and watched documentaries. But he shared that he thought musically when he was conducting his research, when he was creating all the good things he left behind in this world.
Did you know that Nikola Tesla also worked with vibrations, also believed in the power of sound, and also worked with the human body?
Yes, he was an extraordinary individual, of course.
And actually, I do as well. He also believed very
strongly in God. And Einstein also believed in God very deeply.
Because today's significant problem is truly the profound lack of faith.
There is an absence of faith. This is a global problem that is extremely acute. People have completely lost it.
Faith in music?
At least
that...
For me, music plays a huge role in my life because it profoundly influences my entire being. On absolutely every level. And it's no coincidence that sound healing was invented. I remember when I was living in Ibiza at the beginning of the war, my beloved sent me there for the first 6 months to protect me. And I would go to sound healing sessions there from time to time. And comparing my state before and after sound healing, the difference was truly incredible.
Well,
and accordingly, mantras, those are also sound. When we chant all of this, our organs, our subtle body, on every single level, miracles happen within us and in our entire being.
With
our energy.
I understand that. I work with this as well. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. But I also want to mention the other side of the word miracle. It's a degree of knowledge.
That is,
if you don't possess certain degrees of knowledge, then for you it's a miracle, because you are unaware. You don't know.
How do you envision the music industry evolving in, say, the next 5 years? Right now, there are an incredibly vast number of talented DJs and aspiring artists actively creating and performing.
How
do you think the music world will change in 5 to 10 years?
Oh, I don't know. To be completely honest with you, it most definitely will not be about music anymore, not in the slightest. And today it's not about music.
What will it be about?
Today the market is very overcrowded. You know it yourself. Don't look, there's a DJ. Oh, I'm a DJ. You DJ, I DJ. I also produce music. Actually, I didn't produce music from the very beginning. Now I write it myself. I know how to create it. Before, I used to buy ghost tracks. So if you have money, you buy a ghost track. If you have a team, if you understand how this structure works, if you have effective strategies, a business plan, investors, or your own funds, this is a business.
There are a lot of very famous artists. Unfortunately, music is being bought from you. We know about this. Well, that's normal. And people will stop. Look, strange artists as well. Yes.
But foreign artists too. It all turns into this, yes. The goal here...
What is it?
What's the goal here? The goal here is not a noble one. Here, well, although maybe it is noble. Maybe someone, for example, is earning money in order to later invest it in something good. For instance, yes. Look, what is the person's motivation? I think we should pay attention not just to the results and actions, but to the motives that drive people to do this and act this way.
Yes, I understand you. And tell me, how do you feel, for example, what do you experience when less talented DJs take up venues where you would also like to play and be present?
I feel fine about it. My emotions and attitude towards this are absolutely normal. Because I have understood how this structure works. I understand. It's business. It's business. Let them work, let them put in the effort, let them earn, let them try, let them move forward. At least they are working with music. They are expressing themselves on stage in some way. Because people are involved in much worse things, you know what I mean, hurting each other. And so on and so forth. Let's not list all of that. There's no need for that negativity. Let them do this and earn their living. But of course, I would rather invest that money in development. In development, building children's homes, building schools, building universities.
Even more of them.
And more spiritual practices. Then there would be no place for war in this world, on this earth.
Deenara, tell me, how would you genuinely feel deep down inside if, for example, tomorrow you were suddenly faced with the profound necessity to completely give up your cherished stage, your beloved music, and your entire public life? What specific emotions would you truly feel in that moment? Would you experience a liberating sense of freedom, or would you instead be overwhelmed by an immense and profound emptiness?
To give up the stage, to give up music. Honestly, it's incredibly challenging and profoundly difficult to willingly give that up, but I would articulate it in this particular way. If I were to genuinely and completely give up what I am currently experiencing and actively going through right now, specifically in this profound and expressive sense within the realm of music, I would undoubtedly feel an immense and liberating sense of true freedom, a profound release from all constraints and expectations. But I can't give it up because I need to live. I need to earn money. That's how I support myself. I have no support. I am completely self-sufficient. I help myself entirely. But if we speak globally about the stage and the music I create, yes, there would be emptiness. But emptiness isn't a bad thing because something you truly need will always come to fill that empty space.
Something new?
Something new and necessary for you. That's why regular cleansing and becoming empty, and when you feel sad and think it's depression, it's actually a wonderful time to get to know yourself better? No, to cleanse yourself, to purify, to become empty, and then what you truly need will inevitably come. You just need to believe in this and understand how it works.
All right, then. We have a comprehensive series of intriguing questions prepared for you, much like a rapid-fire, quick-fire round of challenging inquiries. Oh. Let's say this is our concluding part. Tell me, if you had £1 billion, a truly immense sum of money that you absolutely had to spend in a single day, what would you do?
In one day?
Yes. How would you spend it? Where? On what? For what purpose?
To save the environment. We are simply destroying our planet. We don't even realize what we're doing. Probably I would spend all that money on the environment.
Seriously?
To clean up the earth from the mess we've made, from the very branch we're sawing off while sitting on it. We also have a saying, the ceiling is the work of human hands. We build things for ourselves and then we don't know how to get out of them. We need to be aware of what we're doing.
What is the meaning of life for you personally?
You sure have some questions. The meaning of life. There are many meanings in my life.
Maybe there's a mission, a single mission that if
I had a mission,
a person, a soul.
The meaning of life, a mission. No matter what we call it, I choose the path of light. To discover myself, to develop myself, and only on this path. Only here are the meanings. Only here are the missions. Nowhere else.
Do you have soulmates in your life? What does this word mean to you? How does it resonate with you?
Details.
Yes, speech. Well, that's already Ukraine British Sign Language. Kindred souls? Just kindred souls, that's all.
Kindred souls, like some kind of deeply connected spiritual friends, perhaps.
Well, soulmates are people, and they don't have to be just in a romantic sense. These are people whom, yes, you meet in life, and you might even with them
See each other.
not see each other at all, not communicate, but you know that probably from past lives you are working through some karmic lessons together. So, or something like that should. Today, something interesting happened.
There was this situation in the metro. Today I was going to teach at that very place, at the Pirate Studio.
Yes.
And I approach a man, even though I can actually see the sign, Platform 8, Victoria, you know. But I think I'll go up to him. Like I said, this owl guy, I trust him. He's guiding me. I feel that I just need to approach and clarify. Even though I can see that Platform 8 is over there, I approach him and say, "Excuse me, could you please tell me, is Platform 8 definitely over there?" So I'm like this, and now my friend is nearby, I'm talking on the phone, and for the first time I'm taking above ground transport from this platform. And he looks at me from a distance and says, "Wait a moment," he helped some girl with something, carried something for someone, went up to someone else. I'm thinking, what, can't you manage
To come in with me and the team?
I think, well, if you wanted to, then be patient. Wait, don't rush. Somehow, that's the voice that came to me. And he comes up to me with these incredibly deep eyes. His nationality is somewhere from over there, the Arab region. I have Muslim roots. My mother is Bashkir and my father is Ukrainian. There are also Tatars, specifically Kazan Tatars. There are Crimean Tatars and there are Kazan Tatars. I also have Kazan Tatars in my ancestry. My great-grandfather was one. And on my father's side, there's also some distant Polish heritage.
I see, all right, so you have these men in your family.
He comes up and says, "Haven't we met before?" I said, 100% in a past life. I told him that and he laughed so much. We exchanged gifts with each other. I asked, "Are we going the right way?" He said, "Yes, and are you going the right way?"
Did you exchange contacts or not?
It's simple. I have to
Ask, what if
what if
it's fate? Who knows? You can. Do you believe? I believe that I
will feel it. When my man comes into my life, I'll know it for sure. That's something I know for certain as of today.
But this isn't just about men. It could be about women too. It could be a friend who appears in your life.
I just got back to talking about fate, and you were asking something about soulmates. Yes.
If you have soulmates, people in your life who argue with your soul, I already understand.
Yes, of course. Yes, there's Alik Konstantinovsky, whom I worked with, and his wife. They are my closest friends, and they are also part of this very same matrix. At the same level, very, very close to me is Katya Rizhova, my dear friend. There are people who are extremely close to me, and of course, my family are my karmic connections, my soulmates. They are the most important soulmates in my life. And my dedicated teachers play an absolutely enormous role, consistently guiding me exactly where I truly need to go.
Is there one book in your life that changed it?
My life?
Yes.
There are many such books. It's important to understand.
Can you pick just one that comes to mind right now? One you'd like to share so others can read it?
I'd be happy to share. Antarova. 3 volumes, perhaps even 4 volumes. 2 lives. But the truly profound book that genuinely helped me emerge from a period of deep depression when I had completely lost all sense of purpose and direction in life, and which subsequently assisted me in discovering profound meaning, or at the very least, initiating the crucial journey to earnestly search for meaning, was unequivocally Viktor Frankl's seminal work, Man's Search for Meaning. It's a truly powerful book, but again, you need to understand it. He uses a lot of terminology. There are many terms in it. Again, if you have a great psychoanalyst nearby, you can go through this book together, read it, take notes, and then bring your insights to your psychologist during sessions, just like I did. and have discussions, much like philosophers do.
This is effective method working through it.
And then the second and third books that have truly transformed me, well, changed me significantly, are Antarova's 2 Lives. It's a 4-volume set, blue covers with a golden peacock. And Victor Hugo, his name is Victor too, right? Hugo's Les Miserables. It's a huge, thick book. Honestly, it's a truly remarkable and invaluable treasure, not just a mere book, but a profound experience.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, I highly recommend reading it because it's truly wow. Instead of
Scrolling through TikTok.
it's better to read.
Yes. When you are no longer here, what kind of legacy would you truly like to leave behind?
I will sing with many voices.
I mean, something truly meaningful, something that really resonates and has a significant impact.
Deep.
Yes.
What would I like to tell my children?
No. What exactly would you truly like to leave behind? What legacy, when you are no longer present in this world, in this life? After your death?
You mean what I want to leave behind?
Yes, that is correct.
Good.
Light, and also what about music?
Music will remain the same and will be sold on these labels for the rest of its life. Is it just that it will truly bring good to this world?
Yours specifically, right?
Mine? I really hope so, but I'm not sure about that. Where is it played?
Is it actually played in the London?
In which places? In which places?
In different ones.
Well, it brings some good. At the very least, it earns money for those who hold the rights to my music. I don't have those rights because I sign a contract. Of course, they take the rights away from me for 10, 15 years. They give me some small part, just pennies, and that's it. What would I like to leave behind? I would like to leave behind motivation, the right kind of motivation, in the hearts of people, at least in those close to me, so that they could pass on that same motivation and sow the same seeds of goodness in others.
Tell me, if this entire remarkable life had a truly fitting headline, yes, if it possessed a profound and meaningful title, what exactly would you choose to call it in all its complexity and depth?
The arduous and winding path leading directly to the esteemed and knowledgeable teacher is now clearly visible.
Will we see you in the role of a teacher soon?
Maybe, I don't know. If I'm ready, yes. If not, then no.
We'll hear about it.
Only the Almighty will know about that. Or rather, already knows. For now, I don't know. I don't know.
What exactly would you like to wish to all of those wonderful people who have watched our podcast here today? What would you like them to perhaps even feel?
I think I would like to say my message would be, I'd probably want to say this to myself if I was sitting behind the scenes right now, you know?
Of course, that could be the case.
That everything is not as it seems. Nothing is really as it seems. You need to wake up and put in the work. Not just work, not just pretend that you're working or putting in effort. You need to truly work, to seek knowledge and to purify yourself. Purify yourself, work hard, be grateful, pray, and keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Thank you very much.
Likewise, indeed.
Yeah.